listening to the Jboy Show, your number one source for Auburn and the SEC.
My goal was to run through his soul and grab his heart when I run through his soul. Kurt, Nate, Coach Dap, those are memories.
I think we've established ourselves as, I think, the premier conference in college football.
No, the SEC is better at the top. It's better in the middle.
The Southeastern Conference remains the premier conference.
Takes the snap. Looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkland. Touchdown, Auburn!
Think about it. It's always been the SEC and everybody else trying to catch it.
I think this is probably the best league from a competitive venue standpoint.
Most capable teams. You just look at those programs, the way they recruit, how they invest.
Snap to Burrow. 3 steps. Fires. Back corner of the end zone. Over the shoulder catch. Did he hold on? He did. Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Tiger.
And now, your host, Jboy.
Hello, everybody, and thanks again for joining us on your favorite SEC sports podcast. We're very excited to be joined by one of the best offensive linemen you're going to find, a guy at Auburn that played in about as many games as humanly possible in a career, and that's center extraordinaire Reese Dismukes. Reese, what's up, man? I appreciate it.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, definitely, man. You know, you're one of my favorites, and had to get you on here sooner or later. But Reese, I want to kind of jump right in, and you played at Auburn at a crazy time. It's always crazy to play at Auburn, but I'm just looking at it. You start all 13 games as a freshman at center. You play in 10 as a sophomore because you had 2. You missed due to injury. All 14 games as a junior, and all SEC selection. And then you start 13 your senior season. Can you just talk about what it's like to just come in and most kids don't get to play. You played all the time.
Yeah. Well, going into it, my final 3 were Alabama, Auburn, and Florida State. And my dad always told me that, you stay in the state, you're going to be able to, be successful when football's over with. And, football is a short time period of your life. So that kind of dwindled it down to either Auburn or Alabama. And then really the next factor was playing time. Blahos was going into his senior year at Alabama, and one of the best to ever snap the football at Alabama, in my opinion. And then Pugh, who's now at Troy, great player as well. Started a lot of games coming out of Hoover there. And, the opportunity, you had Blake Burgess, who was his back up, kind of an undersized tight end, transformed into O-lineman, kind of too slow to run routes or anything. So they just beefed him up. Yeah. And, he got the job done, and was kind of that big tight end at times. But, I saw the Jeff Grimes, the coach, told me, look, if you come here, you're going to have a chance to start. And that's really all I could ask for. And then, going into, that freshman year, I don't think if I wouldn't have, graduated high school early, I don't think I would have been able to, to even have a chance to compete, to be honest with you. I mean, that, you don't really, especially the amount of game, the amount of knowledge that you have to take on, and you're really in the center where I was, you're really in charge of everything when it all comes down to it, other than maybe some minor audibles or some things of that nature in the game. But, I was able to go up there. Obviously I got my ass kicked a lot my freshman year, but yeah. I mean, you're not going to show up and win the Rimington the first year. Yes, exactly, but we got to there eventually. But I mean, it was crazy, man. Going into freshman year, I'm playing against Michael Brockers, Fletcher Cox, Melvin Ingram. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 Josh Boyd and Mississippi State. I mean, I'm sure I'm not naming a few that are, easily all those guys at Florida we played. Floyd, I think, was at Florida then. I mean, there were some dogs in there. But I mean, all I knew how to do was show up and fight and talk a bunch of shit. But but then going into the I feel like I probably made my biggest jump. One of my biggest jumps in that bowl practice my freshman year, going into the Virginia game up there in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. I kind of had time to look back on the whole season and you're either getting better or you're getting worse. So was able to get the better and, start playing a little better ball, and then had a great, going in the second year, Malzahn had left, and then you have Scott Loeffler. Chiswick brings him in and tries to, change up the whole offense and whatnot. Really didn't have the talent. I think if they wouldn't have pissed off Barrett Trotter the year before and he would have stayed for his senior season, Chiswick might still be there, because Barrett could have, he could have ran Loeffler's system pretty well. But that was kind of a disaster season, 3-9. I got suspended the first game. Got a damn public intox, being stupid. The last night of training camp, missed the Clemson game. I think Chiswick told me if we lost the game by 14 points or less, it was my fault.
Wow.
So, obviously I didn't know it was that important, but it's, shit happens and you move on. And, was able to come back and then end up having a high ankle sprain on, you come off of a bye week and they all want to go full pads on Sunday. Real smart. Kyle Frazier, I think we had 4 quarterbacks that year, but Kyle Frazier was starting that week against Arkansas, and he comes out, takes the wrong drop. We got a full slide on, and, he trips up the left guard, and John Solon comes down in my ankle, and I got a high ankle sprain, and, we canceled practice right then and there for the rest of that day, but I wasn't going to miss another game. So I actually played with a hard cast.
Wow.
On my ankle, and of course, thank God for Toradol. So we
and Toradol, man.
My ankle actually gave out, play 17 against Arkansas, sat down on the bull rush, and had to throw the guy and end up dislocating my elbow. And went off to the sideline, told him to tape it up, and I finished the game. And then just because of the meds, obviously I was able to make it through.
Well,
but
you are a tough SOB too, dude. The meds are one thing, but you know as well as I do, it wasn't like you couldn't feel it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, especially the next couple plays, I thought I was going to have to tell John to snap the ball, but we made it through that, and I missed that next game against Ole Miss just because, man, they said Dr. Andrews told me it's like a common rodeo injury, where those guys riding those bulls and that elbow just gets thrown out of socket and back in, and then it just tears everything right above their elbow, all those muscles. So I tore all that. I woke up that Sunday and my fingers were swollen shut, swollen together. My hand was so big, and but after that, I don't think I practiced another practice of the year other than Friday walkthroughs. So I was back the next week. I think it was actually Vanderbilt. It was my birthday. We lost to Vanderbilt. How the hell do you lose to Vanderbilt?
Well, if
at
it was
Auburn?
a debate, if it was like a debate, I'd understand.
Yeah, well, it was. I think they had Zach Stacy.
Yeah,
and
dude,
I think Franklin was still there.
They had some guys.
They were decent. But yeah, that 3-9 season was definitely one to forget. But it kind of it made 13 so much more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Malzahn came in, and I think there's something to be said. I mean, hell, we got from that Bama game when they skull drug us, and I was in the Bahamas for the next month with my roommate, and we got all refreshed. There's not a whole lot of time. I mean, hell, you're done with the bowl game, and hell, spring ball 6 weeks later. I mean, when are you gonna make your gains? When are you gonna recover? In this current, how it's currently done. But we got all that time off, and then we came back, and Ryan Russell, strength coach, who was at Arkansas State, who was previously there my freshman year with Malzahn, came in, and hell, we finally got music in the weight room. Yachts wasn't a music guy. I think he
I don't
said,
know how that worked, man.
Lee,
I couldn't do that, Reese. Like, everybody just staring at each other, lifting weights. And Coach Yachts, man, I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing, but I just can't imagine. Maybe it's our age, but I can't imagine that, dog.
Yeah, he was, it's kind of like the facilities up there, you're trying to win with an iPhone 4 when we got iPhone 11s out, I mean, it's, the sounds of weights is all we need to hear in here.
Yeah.
Is what he used to say.
Yeah.
But, that's all fun and games. But he was a great coach too. But Russell came in, and, Nick came in, and, the rest is kind of history, man. We went on a run there. I think we were the only team to ever lead the nation in the SEC in rushing. And, you talk about the, you got the miracle in Jordan Hare, and then the kick six. And I think Georgia was averaging giving up 85 yards a game rushing, and we put 320 on them.
Yeah, y'all absolutely leaked them.
And then Bama they were the number one, giving up 72 or 78, and we put 315 on that ass.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, Saban didn't want none. But it was, and then that was obviously it was sucked to lose the national championship, but it's we got there. But then you go into 14, and was able to obviously not have as good a year as we wanted to, but we as a unit I was able to win the Rimington Trophy, and that was obviously one of the reasons I came back. I wanted to do that, and so it was overall a career. I had a good career, a lot of ups and downs, and if I had to do it again, I'd probably do it the same.
Yeah. And dude, Reese, you were by far and away the best center, obviously, that year, and probably the best offensive lineman in maybe a top one of three. And something that you said that I think really resonates, and you talk about, playing hurt and doing all this stuff, and you go through, being recruited in 2010 when Auburn wins the national championship, to going through what y'all went through in 2011, and then you talk about 2013, and I wonder what it was like. I just want you to go back to me, if you don't mind, on the prayer in Jordan Hare, and you snapped the ball. And the way I look at it, Reese, I thought Nick should have thrown it to Sammy, and he throws it. I see him throw the ball. Can you just talk about that moment?
Yeah. I think we had a timeout before that play. I don't remember the actual play call, but I mean, you're sitting there and you snap the ball, and I think they drop 8. 3-man rush, drop 8. Yeah. And I'm sitting there double teaming the guy with I think I'm sitting there with Chad. I think we Rocco called it. We slid to the right. Yep. So I had Kozan coming with me from the back side, and then Chad goes and takes care of Avery's guy. And I mean, hell, Nick just let it go. And I had a front row seat, baby. But I mean, hell, you see 2 guys jump up and tip it, and then Ricardo catches it. And to be honest with you, if it would have hit Ricardo in dead stride, I don't know if he would have called it.
Yeah, no, it was dude, how fast did you run, Reese, down to the end zone? Or were you just there in disbelief?
Oh, hell no! I took off.
I know you did, dog. I know you did.
Yeah, I mean, that was the loudest that stadium's ever been. I definitely, it was way louder than the kick six. I mean, that was. I would not guess. Yeah, that was the loudest that place has ever been. If they have some kind of some kind of gauge on the decibels or whatever, I guarantee you that was the loudest that place has ever been.
That's great. I appreciate it. So you get a front row seat of that, and then you got Bama. What is going through your head? Did you watch it? Because I've had guys tell me, I think it was Darren Bates told me that he couldn't watch it. I forgot. And then talking about the national championship field goal with Wes. And did you watch Bama kicking that field goal?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I thought we were going to overtime, and then obviously the whole kick deal, but I was getting ready for the toss, and I asked Malzahn, I said, where the hell is Bebe? Which Chris Davis actually goes by Bebe.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he's back there, returning the kick or whatever. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because me and him are captains. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens here. So they kick the thing, and then all of a sudden he catches it, and then I'm on the sidelines like, I'm telling everybody to, stay back. I mean, all these other idiots are, jumping up and down, and, they're going to run down there with him before he even gets down there. But my whole thing was, keep these people back, and then after that, he scored, and then it was just crazy, man. I mean, I can tell you this. I know why they don't let people rush the field. Because, that's dangerous. I mean, I think he almost he was out of breath, and people piled up on him. Yeah. I mean, he almost was. He was
suffocated, man.
He was in serious condition when they got him. Hell, I about walked out of the stadium up the stands just to get back to the locker room. I mean, it was. I mean, it's going to take you an hour to get back, and it's like, people, man, we got to get to Sky Bar too. Y'all need to get out of our way.
Y'all got to get a shower and get ready. It's about to be the best night of all time.
Yeah. But it was. That was two pretty crazy endings for sure. I was lucky to be a part of them.
Definitely, man, and then y'all do y'all's thing in the SEC championship, and then again, I do want to talk about the Natty for a second, Reese. I know how competitive you are, bro. You're like me, and I hate bringing up a loss, but I wanted to ask you about it because I know you're going to tell me. You know what I'm saying? I think, in my opinion, after watching that game, because obviously I'm watching like a hawk, I felt like the momentum changed, and I believe it was right before halftime when FSU faked that punt. My question, Reese, and I know hindsight is always 20/20. But I just don't know how you don't put the safe punt return team out there, man. I don't understand it. When did you feel like the momentum kind of changed in that game, or did it not? Did it just go back and forth the whole game until the end? Because it came down to the end, but man, y'all were working them boys.
Yeah. I didn't necessarily feel that momentum change. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think if any, like really when we got our air knocked out of us is probably that kick return. Yeah. When Jay Jones, tore his hammy. Oh. But if you really look back, I mean, we controlled the game the first half, and then you have, you go into the second half, and it's almost like we kind of just, sat around and waited on them, and then it gets into nut cutting time, and then we start taking shots back and forth, and then we just happened to not have the last shot. But I mean, you go back and it's crazy. A football game comes down to 4 or 5 plays. I mean, you got Greg. We had converted a 3rd and 13, and Greg had a holding call. Robinson, that's one of them. You got Parkey misses a chip shot.
See, people forget about that too. People forget about that field goal. That was a big field goal. That was a big moment in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 30-yarder. You got
to make it.
Yeah, you missed that. And then let's see what the punt, the kickoff return, and then you got that's really what it comes down to. As long as the games are, it really comes down to who makes those 4 or 5 plays, 3, 4, 5 plays. But it we did just about all we could.
It was a hell of a season, Reese, man. It's one of the best seasons in the history of college football. And I mean, you get to say you're a part of a team that hit a Hail Mary and the kick 6, in a matter of less than a month. Which and again, man, you win the Remington. You're a 2-time All-SEC, consensus All-American. I mean, you did everything a center can do, man. If they were going to give the Heisman to an offensive lineman, I feel like you'd have had a shot in 13.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I know you're humble, man.
I lost to Outland to Sheriff, but it couldn't have been done without my coaches and without my teammates, and it was very fortunate to have been in that position. But yeah, definitely lucky. But that's why you go to Auburn to play big time ball and to have those opportunities to be in those games. So if you if that's not your outlook on it, then you need to go play somewhere else or not, stay out of the SEC because it's grown man ball.
Exactly. And so, you get done at Auburn. you played professional. You were with the Steelers, the Panthers, and the Broncos. You do the thing that every athlete dreams of doing. I want to ask you about the Panthers, though, because obviously, Cam was in 2010. You came in, right after that. What was it like kind of being on the team with Cam now? You're probably like, man, it'd have been probably pretty cool to play with him. And now, you get to see him and you're on the same team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Cam, unbelievable hard worker, great teammate. My whole problem with Cam is, or not necessarily, the media kind of puts this picture out there that Cam's some asshole, that he doesn't work hard, that he's kind of a selfish guy.
Yeah.
They kind of like. It's what the media does to everybody these days. I mean, they steer us. I mean, look at them now. Now they got Patrick Mahomes as the, that's who they want to be the new Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Cam, Cam doesn't dress how they want to, yada, yada. But, that's all that stuff's bullshit. I mean, Cam is the best teammate in the world, one of the hardest workers in the building, took care of me from day one. I'm just a little practice squad guy. Obviously, we went to the same school, but I mean, he's like that with everybody. I mean, he shows up to work every day, and he does everything that is asked of him. And hell, it was awesome. I mean, he's a great teammate and a great guy, and I think he's going to do great things up there in New England, especially with. You give his tool set to Belichick and McDaniels. I mean, they're. It's going to be probably pretty scary to watch. I think he'll have another chance, but not many people can say they lost a national championship and a Super Bowl.
Hey, look, man, not many people can say they went to either one, let alone two, though. I guess it's just, I feel you. Well, man, Reese, I know, you got a lot of things going on. You're such a talented guy, man. I do want to ask you before we get to what you're doing now, who was the hardest guy you ever had to block? From freshman to senior, who's the guy that you're like, man, that dude's the best? Or is there like one or two that are kind of at the top?
Man, I'd probably say, all the way up, I'd probably say Melvin Ingram. My freshman year up there at South Carolina was, probably the one I wasn't ready for it. I think Jeff Grimes had me practicing spin moves after he damn near killed Barrett Trotter. They about had to call in the hearse. They came around on a ET, and I was just sitting there like a duck. Yeah, probably him. And then I'll tell you, Timmy Jernigan. In the national championship, great. I'd probably say he's probably one of the better guys I've gone against. I mean, he was a good player, very active, and very strong. But yeah, later in my career, I'd probably say he was probably one of the better ones, up there as far as interior guys go.
Yeah. And Melvin's still doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And then so is Timmy. And then, but also, you forget about obviously you have the Josh Chapmans at Alabama, the great nose guards. And then you have, I can't even remember the guy's name. He was a white guy. White guy from Bama, would have been, his senior year would have been 2011.
I know you're talking about.
But he had a swim move in a club that was pretty good. I don't think he even wore gloves, but
those
he was pretty nasty too.
Those are the guys that scare you.
Yeah.
Maybe not you. I mean, you are the Remington winner, but it's just like the guys that get in the batter's box with no gloves. I'm like, man, I don't. This is going one or two ways. Either you can't hit it all, or you're about to hit one in the moon.
Yeah. But I'd probably say definitely. Probably Melvin Ingram, or I'd probably say best all-around player, probably Timmy Jernigan.
I got you. I appreciate that, man. So you get done playing, and you brought it up, man. It's a great point. You stay in state, you're going to be able to do well. It's exactly what you're doing, and you have a podcast going on. I want you to tell the people about that because it's great. And you also got some nonprofit stuff that everybody needs to hear about and everybody needs to participate in. Let's kind of talk about where you're at in life right now, Reese. I mean, how's everything going? And how's the life of Reese Dismukes right now?
Man, it's great. it's I'm living in Mobile now, right there in Midtown. As far as what I'm doing now currently for my job, my day job, I'm a commercial insurance broker for Palomar Insurance. We're an independent retail broker, and my focus in industry focus is in insuring trucking companies and contractors. So the way I tell people all the time, I'm a trucker now, and it's truckers aren't a whole lot different from offensive linemen. They move the world and don't get a lot of credit unless something bad happens, which, of course you see every billboard on the interstate these days. But so I protect companies, and just go from protecting quarterbacks to companies, and making sure they're properly covered for whatever they're doing. I insure some media companies all the way. I really I focus on what I focus on, but obviously anybody with a company that needs help, I can help them. And
you're a dual
we do some. That's right. And then I got a nonprofit. I started the 50 Foundation back in 2018 when I was done playing, and our mission is to raise funding and awareness for epilepsy and other organizations that foster and enable the betterment of our society's youth. So you can find our page on Facebook, and we raise money for epilepsy. My little brother has epilepsy, and we're trying to give back to that cause, and then we also give to other organizations that help kids in the community. And my whole idea around that was I started that with four of my buddies that I went to high school with. One I went to college with was just, he told me he was just proud of me one day when I was done. I think we were actually sitting at a Revivalist concert before they came on stage down there, New Year's of 18. And I was like, well, hey, I want to start a nonprofit now. And I want you to help me out. Just so, we're not done doing what we do. And, now the rest is history with that. So it's going good. We've, I think we raised over $20,000 last year for epilepsy. And we're in the process now of, trying to create a service dog scholarship for epilepsy. People with epilepsy who need a service dog. Yeah. So I that's been a difficult process, just with finding an actual provider of the dog and the training and that stuff. So we're trying to put that together now, but I would like to be, over the next 3 to 4 years, be to where we're taking an applicant a year, and almost giving them a scholarship and buying them a service dog, because those things can get pretty expensive. So that's kind of our goal there. And then, I got the podcast too, between the Auburn football, between the tackles with Dismukes and Kozan. So Alex Kozan, who is from Castle Rock, Colorado, currently lives in Atlanta, is the co-host with me on that. And we just give a former player's perspective of really right now kind of just college football in general. And in Auburn, we've only been around for a year or so, but we do it on the side. It's been fun. It's been a learning experience, and I'm excited to see what it can do. But it's obviously not it's not at the top of our list. But we feel we have some unique lenses per se that we look through, and that other people might find interesting. But it's definitely been a process to get that thing up and off the ground. But I appreciate you having me today, and I've been seeing the Jboy podcast all over the place. It looks like it's going good for you.
Man, yeah, we're grinding. I appreciate you saying that, Reese. And guys, you got to check out him and Alex. I got to get Alex on the show too. I'm glad you reminded me. Get him on here and shoot, man. You know what I think about you, dog. You're doing huge things. Everybody needs to go check out the 50 Foundation. Any way you can help, please do it. Go check out the podcast, Reese. Dog, you're my dog, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Tell the family I said hello, and if I can ever do anything for you, don't hesitate to reach out and War Eagle.
Hey, you know it's the same here, man. War Eagle, and obviously it's something where I know me and you will talk again later. But appreciate you, man, and appreciate the kind words you said about the show. We're grinding, man. I know you know all about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's hey, life's like a knife, man. You're either getting dull or you're getting sharp. What you doing for it?
Wise words from Reese Dismukes, baby. But
that's a JB Grimes quote.
Oh, there you go. But well, all right, Reese. We'll talk soon, man. Thanks.
All right, see you, Jake.
That was former Auburn center Reese Dismukes, personal friend of mine. Really good player. I mean, one of the best centers to ever play at Auburn. He, like I said, 2-time All-SEC, won the Remington. I mean, he was throwing people around like he was a bouncer in 2013. And again, appreciate you guys as always. Remember, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at the Jboy Show, on YouTube. Just look at the Jboy Show. Y'all make this work. So does IBN Sports, best PR team in the game. Thank them. Faison in the studio whipping it up. It's been another episode of the Jboy Show, and Jboy is gone.